This is lesson 1-3, exponents and place value. Our essential question, how can you write a number as a product of repeated multiplication? And this picture shows a really good example of that. So it's 4 to the third power, which really means 4 times 4 times 4. Whatever the exponent is, that's how many times you multiply it together. We have 4 vocab words. Power, which shows how many times to use the number in multiplication. Exponential form is an expression that includes an exponent. So an exponent is a symbol that shows how many times the number is multiplied by itself. And a base is the number that's going to be raised to that power. So looking at this example really quickly, the 8 is my base, and the 3 is my exponent. So in this case, I would do 8 3 times, multiply it 3 times. So 8 times 8 times 8. And those little dots that you'll see sometimes in between numbers mean multiply. Example 1, write 10,000 as repeated multiplication. So if we write, let's say, 10 times 10, we know that equals 100. Now here's a little trick. 10 times 10, there's 1 0 and 2 zeros. So our answer needs to have 1, 2 zeros. So if we look up at the number 10,000, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So that tells me I'm going to multiply 10 4 times. So the answer to this would be 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And if you were to do that, 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, you would get 10,000 as your answer. Example 2, write 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 in exponential form. So 7 is my base, and now I just count up how many times I'm multiplying it. So I'm multiplying it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So it's to the 4th power. Example 3, write 37,169 in expanded form using exponents. Now this might seem a little tricky at the beginning, but I want you to just pay attention as I go through, and if you still don't get it, try rewatching the example a couple of times slowly. So when we do expanded form, just like we did in the very first lesson, we always start with the number that is all the way to the left. So that number is 3. Now, we always multiply by powers of 10. Because remember, if you think back to what I said, if you're writing in regular expanded form, all the numbers after 3 become 0 because the value of that 3, it's worth 30,000 if we just separated the 3 out. So that's why we multiply by powers of 10, because that would always give us zeros after the number. And all you do is count up how many places are after that number. So 1, 2, 3, 4 places, and that becomes your exponent. So 3 times 10 to the 4th power. If I multiplied 10 to the 4th power times 3, it would get me 30,000. Now we put that in parentheses because we're not done. We need to add the next number. The next number is 7. So we have our 7. Remember, we're always going to multiply by powers of 10. And we just count how many numbers after the 7. 1, 2, 3 numbers after the 7, so that becomes my exponent. Put it in parentheses, and we go on to the next number, which is 1. So we have 1 times 10. We have 2 numbers after the 1, so it's to the 2nd power. Moving on to the next number. We have a 6. Multiply by 10, and we only have 1 number after the 10. So you can put the little number 1 as an exponent. but you also don't have to. So we put that in parentheses. And then we move on to the very last one, which is a 9. We put 9. We always multiply by 10, but there's no numbers after the 9, so we put a 0 for our exponent. So that's how we write an expanded form using exponents. Remember to re-watch this example if you need to. Our last example, this is very similar to what I did when we were doing the vocab. They just want to know which one is the base and which one is the exponent. So the 7 is the base, and the 3, the little number, it's in the corner, that's always going to be the exponent. And what does that mean, although they didn't ask us? But 7 to the 3rd power means 7 3 times. So it's 7 times 7 times 7. All right, you have 3 practice problems. Remember to rewatch the examples as you need to. Don't forget a word problem or a question, and rate your understanding.